Hello, this is Girma, English teacher, and from Lucybridge Academy. As I told you previously, please join our channel, and even if you do have different types of these comments, you can put there. And then having your comments, we can do a lot. We can improve that strengthen us the way how we approach to you. So after I said this, last time we discussed about this inversion and addition to remarks. Remember, please, inversion to revise what we touched last time. For instance, when a negative or else a restrictive word or phrase comes before sentence, inversion takes place. Inversion means the auxiliary verb comes before the subject. By this time, I'm very pretty sure that you are very familiar when we say this auxiliary verb. So when auxiliary verb, that means comes before the subject and end with full stop, that is inversion. But if it is question mark, that is another thing. That means you have to take care here. That means the punctuation mark itself does have a big value, therefore you have to take care of that one. So inversion means, as I told you, when we begin with a negative or restrictive phrase or words, inversion takes place. That means the auxiliary verb comes before the subject and we end with full stop. Don't forget. This is what does it mean. So the other, that means addition to remarks. Addition to remarks, I gave you, that means two important or significant key idea there. That means if the two sentences, basically we just use addition to remarks to avoid redundancy. When we write maybe paragraph or else different texts, rather than using, as I told you, the same style of this sentence, if we make it variety like this or else use different types of these styles, so our text will be very colorful, it will be very attractive, and then that is the intention is. And when we want to emphasize, that means yes, and then we can avoid this redundancy. You have seen that means based on the type of the statement. If it is affirmative, and then we use what we call subject, auxiliary verb, and plus two TOO, or so auxiliary verb then subject. I gave you last time, yes, and then remember that one. If it is negative, again we do have voice. That means yes, neither or nor, auxiliary verb, and then subject. That means yes, don't forget this pattern. And then the other one is subject plus negative, don't forget, negative auxiliary verb, then we end with either. That means plus either. You can revise that one. That is very important. I told you that is very important, and most of the time in different examination, English examination, it can be even in IELTS, in TOEFL. That means you may be asked in international question. Therefore, being familiar helps you. Even you can use it in your communication. That means this pattern. This is what I need to tell you. The other point that we see today is transitional causative device. Don't forget to join our channel. That means this lesson is from Lucybridge Academies, and then don't forget to join and put comments as I told you. Then today we see the new lesson, that is transitional causative device. Sometimes we call it discourse markers. So here, that means according to the topic, for instance, when we intend to add information, that means when we intend to add information, we can use this in addition to furthermore, moreover, besides, also. When we talk about contrasting, that means we do have this. When we want to state about sequence, that means sequence words, when we state happening of events one after the other, we use this one. I will tell you later on, their function. The other one is result words, or else when we intend to present result, that means result consequently, for this reason, as a result, therefore, so. Reason words are here, as, because, since, for. Purpose words, again here we do have. So these are very important. One, to be familiar, the category That means where it is found is one knowledge. But don't think that student, only because they are found under the same category, that means they do have, or else one can replace the other. We can't say like that. Don't overgeneralize. For instance, when we discussed about, for instance, contrasting, although, even though are here. Basically, here, although, even though, one can replace the other with no any difference, but that may not be always true. That means there is possibility where though can be used as a connector and we use at the end, but the other, even though and although, cannot be used at the end of a sentence. We'll see that one. I'll give you example. The other one, no matter how, despite and in spite of, we'll see that all of them, how they are used in a sentence. But here, when we learn about this, what we call contrasting sequence words, or else to present purpose, addition, and like that, we have to see the relationship of the two sentences. That means, yes, we have to see the relationship of the two sentences, because for instance, okay, the second sentence may be the result of the first one, and then the second sentence can be the reason. Therefore, the second sentence may contrast, okay, the previous sentence. So we have to see all this. The first thing that we need to see when we make a sentence, we connect sentence with these transitional words, we have to see the relationship. What type of relationship do the two sentences have? That is the question. And after that, according to the type of the relationship, we use different types of what we call, okay, this cohesive or else discourse mark or transitional words. For instance, here we can see, for instance, here we can see, let's see, that means, okay, I can give you this. Let's see, although, even though, I can give you this example. They are followed by clause. One important point is this one. When we say clause, subject plus verbs. And then not only this one, that means, yes, for instance, again, which is parallel to this one is despite, in spite of, in spite of, despite. For instance, let's see one example. Although she woke up early in the morning, comma, she arrived at school late. Basically, already in the category you are given that, although, despite, and no matter how, however, they are found when we state contrasting or else different ideas. Here, remember, despite and in spite of are followed by phrases. So you have to identify what is a phrase, what is a clause. A clause means minimum. Minimum, there must be what we call, okay, subject plus verb. It's minimum. But when we say despite and in spite of, followed by phrase. When we say a phrase, it is a group of words without subject plus verbs. Don't forget, this is very key. Most of the time, okay, the knowledge of this clause and phrase helps you even when you are trying to be familiar or else tackle another type of rules. This is very important. You have to identify whether a given sentence is a clause or else a phrase. This is what I need to tell you. When we say a clause, minimum there must be what? Subject plus verb. When we say a phrase, a group of words without subject plus verb. This is one thing. Now look here. That's why we say although, even though, they are followed by what? A clause. That is subject plus verb. Look here. Although is followed by what? Minimum subject, she is subject, this is verb, is woke up, verb, and then this is a clause. That's why we use also here. We can't use here, for instance, okay, we can't say despite she woke up early, because she woke up early is a clause. Don't forget this one is. And the other thing that most of the time students be confused when they see it in exam is there is no what we call, okay, despite of. Is. Remember, this is totally wrong, but in exam, in the alternative, you may be given there is no despite of. This is wrong, if there is despite of. We say in spite of, despite is despite, that means, okay, it doesn't take off. This is what you have to remember is concerning this one. So we can rewrite this one without changing any ideas from this one, although she woke up. The same thing, for instance, we can say in spite of her waking up early in the morning, she arrived at school late. She arrived at school late. Yes? Have you seen? At school late. Have you seen here? Look, in spite of her working, this is not a clause, it is a phrase. Yes? Remember this one is a phrase, or else sometimes, okay, even can be followed by participle phrase and like that. Anyway, it is a phrase. It must be a phrase after in spite of and despite that we use. This is a key point, but the idea of these two sentences that we write with also and in spite of almost the same. And that is why at the beginning when we discussed about this transitional word is, the first thing that you do is that if you are asked in exam, so what is the relationship of to use this transitional or discourse marker appropriately? That means you have to identify first the relationship. Is that contrasting? Is that different ideas? Is that the result? Is that the reason? Is that a purpose? You have to identify. So after you identify, then things will be very easy for you to tackle in exam, as well as even when you make your own sentence, that means. And then this is what I need to tell you. So next, I can show you, that means, okay, here again, I can show you, that means, the other, what we call this transitional word, in detail we will see. This is very important area that you are expected to be familiar with concerning this transitional words, because even if, as I told you, they are found under the same category, their usage maybe there is possibility that one cannot replace the others. So you have to learn that one. That is why most of the time students make a mistake, thinking that if they are found under the same condition, they think that, for instance here, although look here, for instance, a very simple example I can give you here, very simple example. Look, although, even though, yes, although can replace even though can replace though, or else though can replace, but this may not be always true. For instances, we can say like this: she worked hard. Full stop. She couldn't be successful though. Have you seen? For instance, here, even if, although, even though can replace, that means one can replace the other without distorting, okay, the sentence, but there is possibility where though and even though cannot replace it. This is what you have to remember is. And then at the end, only though can be used. This is, for instance, again, look here, challenging, another pattern is challenging. I don't know whether I gave you in the note or not, but let me give you. Challenging the test, many students got a remarkable result. Have you seen this pattern, challenging though? Especially there is possibility that we can rewrite when though is preceded or else adjective comes before though. But here we cannot replace also here. It is impossible. It's only though does have this pattern. That's why sometimes don't overgeneralize. In one place, that means, okay, even the domain rule said that about although, even though one can replace the others, but this may not be always true, especially when though here is used at the end or else as a connector. Some books says like that, and then when though is preceded by an adjective like this, and then this is only though can be used here. Remember this one, okay? When we go, that's why we have to see this one in detail about this transitional word. Because they are active, there is possibility that one can replace the other. And I can show you, for instance, again, about however is, however we may use in a sentence in different ways because of the position or else because of what we call this, the punctuation marks. For instance, however here, we can see, however here, I can show you, for instances. Look, however, basically it is contrasting. It's already, I gave you there, but let me show you, yes, as it has different ways. However, one, we can say, she, with a simple and common sentence, she worked hard, full stop. However, capital letter, don't forget this one is, she couldn't be successful. One, two, she worked hard. Semicolon, however, small letter, however, she couldn't be successful. Two, the other, however, hard, she worked she couldn't be successful. Sorry. Look, let me start again. She worked hard, full stop. However, she couldn't be She couldn't be successful. She worked hard. Semicolon. However, comma, she couldn't be successful. Look the third. However, hard. She worked. She couldn't be successful. The fourth, she worked, however hard, she couldn't be okay successful. The fifth, she worked hard. She worked hard, full stop. She couldn't be successful. Have you seen? With however, because of successful, she couldn't be successful, comma. Here this is comma, however is. Have you seen the difference that means? And then here she worked hard, full stop, however, she couldn't be successful. She worked hard, semicolon, this is full stop. When it is full stop, that means, okay, this must be what? Capital letters. When it is full stop, we use capital letter. Don't forget, this has a value. That means capitalization does have a value. And then this is semicolon. After semicolon, we use a small h. Don't forget that. This is small h. However, she couldn't be successful. However hard she worked, comma, she couldn't be successful. Or she worked, when we put, that means, okay, a word in between a sentence like this, connectors or else transitional word, we set up by commas. That means before and after. Then she couldn't be successful. She worked hard, full stop. She couldn't be successful, comma, however. Have you seen? Only, for instance, here, we can replace here, for instance, nevertheless, nonetheless. We can put it, we can replace here. But here, only no matter how can replace, okay, however, in this pattern, on the third one. No matter how hard she worked, she couldn't be successful. Have you seen? Therefore, that is why, even if some of them are found under the same category, under the same topic, saying, contrasting, or reason, or like that, but their usage, because of the place, because of punctuation mark, is quite different. You have to remember this. This is what I want to tell you. Anyway, in the note I gave you about all this, so you can refer that one. You can refer that one. So to strengthen or else to have a detailed knowledge about each of them. This is what you have to remember concerning this, because this is very active, okay? what we call transitional words in your sentence, or again in exam, for instance, when you're asked about this jumble sentence, it is very important because it tells you which sentence comes after which one. That means it tells you, therefore that's very important to be familiar with the function and again with the category of what we call, okay, these transitional words. Sometimes they call them transitional words, sometimes discourse markers, sometimes discourse markers, sometimes causal divide. Therefore, anyway, whatever, okay, the name is given, but the big thing is what we call, okay, is function. Identifying is function. For instance, here I gave you in the note, although the car turned upside down, the driver escaped with a minor injury. Although, look, after although, that means we use what? Clause. But look here, despite her waking up early in the morning, already that I gave, she arrived at school late. After despite, we use what? A phrase. And then in spite of, the same thing. We can replace, but don't forget, for instance, here we can replace instead of although, even though is possible. But though especially does have another pattern which is different from this, and then you have to know that one. When it is used, some books says when it is used as a connector, but here as a subordinate conjunction, they are taking also and even though. So the other one is she worked hard, she couldn't be successful though. Have you seen here? Yes. Already previously I gave you that one, and in addition, have you seen here the difference? For instance, here though cannot be replaced by although. That means, okay, and then this is what you have to remember. The other about the usage of however, already again in the note I gave you clearly, that means, okay, the usage of however, so you have to remember that means, okay, and on the third, that means, okay, however, no matter how, only can replace that one is no matter how. So you have to know like this is their function, no matter how hard she worked, we can say like this is she worked, you can finish it is like this. No matter how, only replace here, but here nevertheless, nonetheless can replace that one is. This is what I need to tell you concerning this. So when it comes to now, you're going to write a paragraph about smoking using notes below. The other important point, when you are asked, sometimes it can be in exam or else in exercise, you'll be given jumbled sentences, means sentences that are placed disorderly. Then you are requested to rearrange and put in the right order. In the right order, one, the knowledge of this transitional words helps you, indicates you. That means the technique is this one. Because most of the time, the 5 sentence or 10 sentence that you are given in jumbled sentence are a part of one paragraph. So the knowledge of paragraph again is very important there, because if you know, I don't know, this paragraph most of the time is the very completed paragraph carries what we call this topic sentence, supporting sentences, and concluding sentence. So if you can identify 90% at in any paragraph, 90% in most of the paragraph, that means the topic sentence comes at the beginning of the sentence as to catch the reader. The reader can get the intention easily, they put it at the beginning. Therefore, if you can identify the topic sentence that heavy, that holds the intention of or the explanation of this supporting sentence, then that topic sentence comes at the beginning. And then after you identify that one, the next one is which one is the immediate sentence that comes after the topic sentence. Maybe what we call, okay, the transitional word, this helps you there. Therefore, as you be familiar with that, here I gave you, for instance, one jumbled sentence. The linking words are given 15 years ago, therefore, eventually, because of this, in spite of this. For example, this eventually means, that means, okay, at the end it has, or else finally at the end. It has these senses, or finally, eventually means, you have to remember this one. 15 years ago, you are given, these are what transitional words is. Therefore, notes are given here from A up to G, then which one just I will give you maybe the answer later on, but it is good for you. Here, this transitional or else linking word guide you. That means, okay, 15 years ago, what happened? Yes. So have you seen how it helps you? Therefore, you can do from this. For instance, 15 years ago, smoking was not seen as a major health risk. It just caused coughs. You can have you seen? It gives you clue. Therefore, no studies were made on the tobacco on health. Yes. Have you seen? 15 years ago, yes, smoking was not seen as a major health risk. Therefore, no studies were made on the tobacco on health. You can eventually at the end look, some link between smoking, cancer, and heart disease was discovered. Yes. You can say like that. Yes. Have you seen? Eventually at the end, some link between smoking, cancer, and heart disease were discovered. So it is good if you try. Already I gave you the clue. So try to do that one. Then this is the end of this lesson. If you do have, again, don't forget, this is from Lucybridge Academy. So if you do have comments and subscribe our channel, join our channel, I'm very confident that you get a lot. You will be benefited much more concerning this from grade 9 up to grade 12, especially, yes, those who are preparing for national exam. This is very helpful. So you will get a lot if you prepare yourself like this. After you have taken this course, really you will be successful 100%, because I have taught for more youth, that means, okay, more than 20 years concerning this area, and then my students are much more benefited. So as you be like them, as you be equitable, follow this channel. If you do have, again, any comment, if there is any items, topic that challenges you, you can put it under comment. I'm very sure that I'll make for you very simple and clear. And then this is what I need to tell you. So next, we see on the next lesson, that means period, we'll see about connectors or prepositions. So we see that one next time when we meet. For today, this much is enough. Thank you very much.